Okie dokie. So let's go ahead and do the preview video before I go to bed tonight, so that I don't have to get up and look half tired in the morning, half asleep in the morning, sick in the morning, whatever I look like in the morning, and that way I can start setting up for my regular videos starting at probably about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's 2 o'clock Eastern for you fine people, but I'll upload this first thing in the morning and get her online, and we'll go from there. All right, starting off with first up, L.A. Los Angeles Kings in Vancouver against the 13-1 or 13-1. Wow, I don't have. I just got up. I guess I could say I'm overtired. 11-13-2 Canucks, 8-14-1 Kings. This is a sad game. And it's a rematch of the game they had the other night that the Canucks won, and we'll see if the Canucks can make it 2 in a row against the Kings. Kovalchuk, 5 goals, 9 assists, 14 points, still leads the scoring for the Kings, and that is a problem. Doughty, 2 goals, 12 assists. Kopitar, who woke up last game against Edmonton, 7 goals, 6 assists. Toffoli, 5 goals, 7 assists. Carter, 4 goals, 8 assists. Brown, 6 goals, 4 assists. Iafallo, 4 goals, 5 assists. Martinez, 1 goal, 6 assists. On the Vancouver side, Horvat, 11 goals, 11 assists. Pettersson, 13 goals, 8 assists. Goldobin, 4 goals, 12 assists. Virtanen, 8 goals, 4 assists. Eriksson, 4 goals, 8 assists. Besser, 4 goals, 7 assists. Hutton and Granlund, both with 4 goals and 6 assists. Goaltenders. And you'll notice that I used a wider marker for the goaltenders because I wanted to see if it would fit. Now, there's no way I could do this without scoring on all the goaltenders. It's not going to fit. But goaltenders, and because I'm doing this the night before, I will not have the starting goaltenders noted because it's the night before. Peterson, 3-3-0, 2.69 goals against, 921 save percentage. I'd keep starting him until Quick's back. Campbell, 5-7 record, 2.33 goals against, 923 save percentage. Budaj, 0-1, 5.02 goals against, 818 save percentage. And Jonathan Quick, who hopefully is back pretty quick, 0-3-1 record, 4.55 goals against, 845 save percentage. And as I've said, and I haven't seen this very many places, if I was the GM of the Kings, I'd be tempted to trade Quick. Just keep Campbell and Peterson. On the Vancouver side of things, Bachman, 0-1. He's back in the minors. 6.00 goals against, 793 save percentage. Nilsson, I would probably start Nilsson in this one. I started Markstrom in the last one. If I'm coach of the Canucks, so I'd give Nilsson this one. 3-4 record, 2.86 goals against, 902 save percentage. Markstrom, 8-8-2 record, 3.35 goals against, 897 save percentage. Over their last 10, LA's 4-6, which would be sad, except Vancouver's 2-7-1. LA's 8th in the Pacific. Vancouver has fallen all the way to 5th in the Pacific. On the road, LA's 3-6. At home, Vancouver's 5-4. Like this morning, where I talked about players that aren't getting talked about, that aren't in the top 8. Luff, in his 9 games as a rookie, 4 goals and 1 assist. The kid's very fortunate right now. He's got 4 goals in 9 games. He's not going anywhere. The Kings have to be happy with his production. And on the Vancouver side, I'm going to say right now, Tyler Mott has been a much better bottom 6 forward than I had anticipated. 24 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. He will never lead the league in scoring. But the effort is there, the heart is there. And when you have a team that is admittedly in the run for Jack Hughes, at least having guys out there that are making the effort and working very hard every night, it's nice to see. So for Vancouver, I don't know what the odds are of them pulling this off. I do know that they have a decent home record, and the road record of LA's is poor. This should be a game that they'll win, but that 2-7-1 in the last 10 means there are no gimmies. And this team is just wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. Next up, Dallas, 12-10-2. They're in against the 10-11-2 Edmonton Oilers. And, you know, honestly, the Dallas Stars, they're hard to figure out. The thing with Dallas, though, is that road record has started to suffer again. And I know early on in the year, people were like, hey, they're doing good on the road. What are you talking about? I don't like them on the road. And being in against Edmonton should be looking for a bounce back. It depends what they do with goaltending, but I think there's some interesting moves to be made here. Leading the way in scoring for Dallas, Sagan, 7 goals, 16 assists for 23 points in 24 games. Radulov, 8 goals, 12 assists. Ben, 9 goals and 10 assists. Spezza, 4 goals, 10 assists. Shore, 5 goals, 8 assists. Klingberg, boy, do we need him back. 5 goals, 8 assists. Heiskanen, 4 goals, 6 assists. Lindell, 3 goals and 7 assists. On the Edmonton side of things, McDavid, 13 goals and 20 assists. Draisaitl, 13 goals and 13 assists. Nugent Hopkins, 6 goals, 16 assists. Chason with 10 goals and 2 assists. Clefbaum, 10 assists. Kajula, 7 goals, 2 assists. Larson with 8 assists. And Toby Reeder with 7 assists. Of course, still injured as far as I know. Anyways, goaltending, Hudobin, 4-5-1 record, 3.07 goals against, 905 save percentage. Hopefully Bishop's back here. Hopefully. 8-5-1 record, 2.33 goals against, 922 save percentage. And of course, Bow, no record, no goals against, and a 1,000 save percentage. Talbot, 5-9-1, 3.29 goals against, 889 save percentage. I think they'll play Koskinen. 5-2-1 record, 2.57 goals against, 914 save percentage. In their last 10, Dallas is 4-5-1. In their last 10, Edmonton is now 2-7-1. Under new coach Ken Hitchcock, they're 1-1-1. Fifth in the Central for Dallas, sixth in the Pacific for Edmonton. It's a tightly bunched 6th through 3rd, and they could be as high as 3rd in the next couple of days, as low as 7th. I don't know. On the road, Dallas is 4-7-1 at home. Edmonton is 4-4-1. So only 9 out of their 23 games have been at home. I've talked about how Vancouver's been out on the road a lot. So is Edmonton. So being fair and making mention of that. Hintz has been a standout for me for Dallas. I know it doesn't really show on the score sheet. 10 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. But Rupe, I think he's going to be an actual decent NHL forward. I don't know what his upside is, but he's been pretty solid in his appearances. And Jujhar Khaira is the one I would mention for Edmonton. 21 games, only 5 assists, but the work ethic is there, and he's popular with the fans. And much like Tyler Mott in Vancouver, when your team isn't necessarily one of the best, you look at the hard workers, you look at the guys who show up every night. And for me, Khaira fits the bill. And it doesn't really matter if he's on the score sheet, which for the most part this year he hasn't been. But the potential's there. Next up, Carolina, 11-9-3, and they're a team. If you want to talk about potential, it's there with Carolina. Their shooting from everywhere seems to be dissipating, and their results seem to be getting a little better. They're in against the 11-8-5 Montreal Canadiens. So 11-9-3, 11-8-5, very similar records. When you look at the scoring, Aho, 7 goals, 18 assists. Teravainen, 5 goals, 13 assists. Ferland, 11 goals, 4 assists. Williams, 4 goals, 10 assists. Svechnikov, 5 goals, 6 assists. Stahl, 5 goals, 6 assists. Martinuk, 7 goals, 3 assists. And Walmark with 1 goal and 9 assists. On the Montreal side, Domi, 11 goals, 15 assists. Drouin, 9 goals, 11 assists. Tatar, 10 goals, 9 assists. Petrie, 2 goals, 15 assists. Gallagher, 11 goals, 5 assists. Shaw, 7 goals, 6 assists. Dano, 1 goal, 12 assists. And Kotkaniemi with 3 goals and 9 assists. Goaltending, you know what? I would throw McElhinney out there. I really, really would. Mrazek is 3-3-2, and I know he's healthy, and I know they're going to want to get him into a game, but you got to win. And Mrazek's 2.75 goals against isn't bad, but that 880 save percentage, I don't know. And I wouldn't want to throw him in against Montreal, a team that, as I've mentioned before, swarms you, can score in bunches, and when Mrazek's confidence drops, he can allow goals in bunches. It's a bad combination. Darling, 2-4-1, 3.14 goals against, 892 save percentage. And McElhinney, 6-2 record, 2.25 goals against, 919 save percentage. So either Darling and Mrazek haven't been as good, or the team plays better in front of McElhinney. Either way, you should play your best hand, because you don't want to risk falling out of the playoffs by a large distance in the East. I would expect Price in net tomorrow night. Niemi's 4-2-1, 3.61 goals against, 893 save percentage. Price is 7-6-4 with a 3.17 goals against, 897 save percentage. Price is flirting with getting back to the same goaltender that he was a few years ago. The stats show that he's struggling to do it. He has moments where he's brilliant, and then he has those mental breaks where he misses shots that he should be able to save. and he needs to cut those out in order for Montreal to turn this around. In their last 10, Carolina's 5-4-1. In their last 10, Montreal's 3-4-3. Carolina's 5th in the Metro. Montreal's 5th in the Atlantic. On the road, Carolina's 4-5-1. At home, Montreal's 6-4-2. And if you're looking for somebody who's not on the score sheet to talk about like the top 8, Jacob Slavin in the Carolina side of things, 23 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. And on the Montreal side, I'm going to go with Victor Mete again. 22 games, 4 assists. I like Mete a lot. I don't know if he'll ever score more than, say, 15, 20 points in a season. But I like him. I think he's a good kid. And I'm glad he's getting an opportunity this year in Montreal, because I think he's one of their stronger prospects on the blue line. I think that's kind of a given, though. Next up, Ottawa. So the Senators are 9-12-3 after tonight's loss to the Rangers, and really reality has just absolutely blasted them in the face. And Philadelphia 10-11-2. And for Philadelphia, coming off of losing their GM today, all the players were saying the right things. We have to be better. We're upset that we got our GM fired. This is on us. It's not on him. It's not his fault. It's our fault. All the same lip service that we throw out there all the time. And tomorrow night, it's their chance to show us that you're upset about it, and take it out on the hapless Senators. Leading the way in scoring for Ottawa is Matt Duchene with 10 goals and 20 assists. Shabbat, 6 goals, 21 assists. Stone, 11 goals, 15 assists. Tierney, 3 goals, 15 assists. Dzingel, 10 goals, 7 assists. Bobby Ryan, who's putting up some decent point totals this year with 5 goals and 11 assists. White, 7 goals, 7 assists. And Kachuk's on the board now with 7 goals and 6 assists. We talk about rookies and Calder. You know what? If Brady Kachuk can stay healthy the rest of the season, he's going to push for Calder consideration. Absolutely. The kid is a good passer. He's powerful. He's got a lot of his dad with him. There's a lot of his dad's game in the way he plays. On the Philadelphia side of things, Giroux leads the way with 8 goals and 20 assists. Couturier, 10 goals, 8 assists. Voracek, 5 goals, 12 assists. Konechny, 6 goals, 8 assists. Simmons, 9 goals, 4 assists. Gostisbehere, 3 goals, 8 assists. Lindblom with 4 goals, 6 assists. And Nolan Patrick with 5 goals and 4 assists. Goaltenders, it's going to be Anderson. Although, that being said, it's a back-to-back. It should be McKenna here. McKenna's 0-1 with a 5.41 goals against, 862 save percentage. Condon, who's still in the minors, 0-2, 6.38 goals against, 800 save percentage. And Anderson, who's overworked, 9-9-3, 3.87 goals against, and a 900 save percentage. But he's definitely overworked. On the Philly side of things, I don't know, throw a rock. And whichever goaltender is hit with that rock is your starter. I have no idea where they're going to go. All kidding aside, Pickard? Stolars? Pickard? It's an interesting dilemma that Philly finds themselves in. They've got Lyon 0-1, 12.00, 667 save percentage. Pickard 4-2-2 record, 4.01 goals against, 863 save percentage. He is the one goaltender though that has a record of more wins than losses. Elliott 6-7 record, 2.59 goals against, 911 save percentage. He was rounding into form and he got hurt, and that definitely doesn't help. Stolars, no record, 2.52 goals against, 943 save percentage. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get the start tomorrow. Neuwirth, 0-1, 6.00 goals against, 727 save percentage. Philly has been just absolutely jinxed in net. They've just been hosed. I do wonder what they're going to do. The next GM has a very unenviable job. You're trying to shore up a position that everybody in the NHL covets. And nobody is going to take pity on Philly and go, oh, you need some help? Here you go. No. It's going to cost them. Ottawa, 4-6 in their last 10. Philadelphia, 4-4-2. Ottawa's 8th in the Atlantic. Philadelphia's fallen to the bottom. They're 8th in the Metro. On the road, this is where it gets sad. On the road, Carolina's 2-8. Carolina. I'm looking at that instead of this. Ottawa. There you go, Shannon. 2-8-1, and Philadelphia at home is 5-6-1. And Philly fans are definitely really anxious to see a winner out there and not what they've been seeing this year. DeMello is the guy I wanted to talk with from Ottawa. Decent season, 24 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. His scoring has dropped off, but I still like him as an addition from San Jose. As much as we talk about Dorian and how horrible the trades were and whatnot, DeMello was a good pickup on the blue line. And on the Philly side of things, we're not really talking about Provorov. 23 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Provorov has not had a fantastic start to the year. And I think he would admit that. But it's going to be interesting to track him from here with the change in the front office. And I would expect a change behind the bench. And we'll see if that's what it takes to really get him jump-started at the NHL level once again. Next up, San Jose. The Sharks, 12-8-4. A Jekyll and Hyde team in the NHL, if I've ever seen one, in against the Buffalo Sabres, who are 16-6-2. Buffalo is... They've been lights out. They're going for 10 in a row with this tomorrow night. And at home against San Jose, they got a pretty good chance of getting it. But San Jose is very unpredictable. San Jose could go out and lay an egg against LA and then go in and beat a Buffalo or a Tampa, because that's how they've been this year. They're so inconsistent. And I've thought about going through the schedule from the start of the year and measuring out who the most inconsistent team is. And I think I need to do a video on that, because it is worth looking at, how inconsistent some teams are and really just how much parity there is in the league. Anyways, San Jose scorers. Burns leads the way with 3 goals and 21 assists. Couture, 8 goals, 14 assists. Timo Meier, 13 goals and 9 assists. Pavelski, 13 goals and 4 assists. Hurdle, 5 goals, 12 assists. Kane, 7 goals, 8 assists. LeBanc, 3 goals, 12 assists. Erik Karlsson, 2 goals and 13 assists. On the Buffalo side, there's Eichel, 5 goals, 23 assists. Excellent playmaker. Skinner, 18 goals and 8 assists. Very thankfully he gets to play with Eichel right now. Pominville, 9 goals, 9 assists. Reinhart, 3 goals, 13 assists. Okposo, 5 goals, 9 assists. Dahlin, 2 goals, 11 assists. Ristolainen, 2 goals, 11 assists. And Sherry with 6 goals and 6 assists. And you wonder, you look at Skinner's goal total. You then take a look over here at the 18 assists put up by Sebastian Aho, passing to Michael Furland. If Carolina doesn't trade Skinner and Aho's moved to the middle with Skinner on the wing, how much better would Carolina's shooting percentage and record be right now? And that's worth looking at. And would that have caused, perhaps Buffalo really was transformed by adding him? Or he is to Jack Eichel what Anson Carter was for the Sedins. Just, you stand there, you know exactly where you got to be, and just bank those pucks in. Anson Carter became a 30-goal scorer just because he understood exactly where to be on the ice for the Sedins. Maybe Skinner's able to do that with Eichel. And if that's the case, he absolutely can keep it up all year. Goaltenders, Dell, 3-3-2, 2.60 goals against, 913 save percentage. I would think Jones will be in next game. 9-5-2 record, 3.01 goals against, 891 save percentage. Goaltending has not been a strong suit for San Jose this year, and that's not good. On the Buffalo side, it has been a strong suit. Ullmark, 5-0-1, 2.52 goals against, 926 save percentage. Hutton, 11-6-1 record, 2.53 goals against, 918 save percentage. I'm still curious to see how much longer Hutton can keep up his level of play, whether he can do it over a full season, because he's never done it as a starter over a full season yet in his career. But so far, so good. And if they need to use Ullmark more, his numbers are excellent as well. In their last 10, San Jose 5-4-1. They're second in the Pacific. Buffalo's 9-1 in their last 10. They're second in the Atlantic because they share a division with Tampa. On the road, San Jose's 4-5-2. At home, Buffalo is 8-2-1. Marcus Sorensen is the one I want to talk about from San Jose. I've talked about him before in 24 games, 4 goals, 6 assists. Very useful forward for the San Jose Sharks, who doesn't get a lot of press. On the Buffalo side, Zach Bogosian. Who saw this coming? The guy's having a good year. 19 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. I had no problem talking about Bogosian when he was playing poorly or getting injured all the time and decrying him being on this blue line. I will give him full credit now that he is productive, healthy, and is absolutely part of the reason why the blue line's been better than was expected. That being said, I now get to change boards. Okay. Pittsburgh. I keep waiting for it. You know what I'm talking about. I've been talking about it for weeks. Every game. Is it now? Did it start last game? Did the Pittsburgh turnaround start with a win over Columbus? I don't know. They're in against Winnipeg tomorrow. Winnipeg's been playing well, or has it just been Laine playing well with 11 goals in 4 games, and Winnipeg's just along for the ride? I don't know. We may find out tomorrow night. Pittsburgh goes in with Malkin as their leading scorer, 9 goals, 21 assists. Kessel, 10 goals, 17 assists. Crosby, 9 goals, 15 assists. Letang, 5 goals, 14 assists. Jake Gensel, 11 goals, 7 assists. Hornquist, 9 goals, 6 assists. Simone with 4 goals, 7 assists. And Jamie Alexiak, in no danger of falling out of the top 8 right now with 4 goals and 5 assists. On the Winnipeg side of things, Blake Wheeler, 4 goals, 23 assists, leads the way. Scheifele, 11 goals, 13 assists. Connor, 10 goals, 14 assists. Laine, 19 goals and 3 measly assists for 22 points. Bufflin, 2 goals, 15 assists. Brian Little, who enjoys playing with Laine, 4 goals and 10 assists for him to get on the board. Ehlers, 5 goals, 5 assists. And there's Jacob Trouba with 1 goal, 9 assists for 10 points. And for the record, Josh Morrissey also has 1 goal, 9 assists for 10 points. Goaltenders. Jari? Yeah, sure. Why not Jari? But Murray, who's out with injury, 4-5-1, 4.08 goals against, 877 save percentage. Casey DeSmith, 5-3-3 record, through 2.35 goals against, 927 save percentage. And there's Jari with the 1 overtime loss, 1.94 goals against, 946 save percentage. On the Winnipeg side, you kind of have to play Hellebuck, right? Brossois, 4-1-1 with a 2.05 goals against, 937 save percentage. Hellebuck, 9-6-1, 2.91 goals against, 910 save percentage. The one thing I worried about with the Jets coming into this season was that Hellebuck had such a fantastic year last year, and I worried about a fallback. That was the one thing that I said, everybody's picking them for the cup, but, it's really going to be, can Hellebuck follow up a great season with another great season? That could be a huge part of it. Because the year before, Winnipeg missed the playoffs, in large part because they couldn't get that consistent goaltending. Over their last 10, Pittsburgh's 3-5-2. Over their last 10, Winnipeg 6-3-1. Pittsburgh's 6th in the Metro, and Winnipeg's 4th in the Central. They're 4th in the Central because the Central is very competitive. Dallas down in 5th in the Central. The Central is just as good as advertised. On the road, Pittsburgh's 4-3-3. At home, Winnipeg is 8-2-2. The road record for Winnipeg is lacking. Their home record has been fantastic. There could be some magic there. For Pittsburgh, the player I wanted to highlight, Cullen, still going, 18 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. Remember, he was retiring after the 2017 Stanley Cup, and then he came out of retire. He didn't officially retire, and then he came out and he played, and now he's playing again for Pittsburgh. Winnipeg, I want to talk about Ben Sherratt, 22 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. And I think Sherratt right now is the most useful and productive he's been in his NHL career. I think he's really rounded out his game this year, and so I wanted to throw his name up there. Next up, Arizona, 9-11-2, and they're back to not being able to score. And maybe this trade will help. However, they're in against Minnesota. Playing Minnesota doesn't help very many people. Compared to Arizona's 9-11-2, Minnesota's 14-7-2 is pretty impressive, although they've been slowed down somewhat over the last 10 games, but they're still playing some pretty solid hockey. Scoring. Keller leads the way for Arizona with 6 goals and 8 assists. He hasn't taken that huge step forward this year. I would point out he hasn't necessarily played with great offensive players. Ekman Larson, 2 goals, 10 assists, and there's Schmaltz with 2 goals and 9 assists. So while Schmaltz, by the Chicago standard, wasn't having a great season, by Arizona's standards, hey, this kid can score. And hopefully that gets going if you're an Arizona fan. Stepan, 6 goals, 4 assists. Grabner, 5 goals, 5 assists. Interested to see if Hinostroza plays with Schmaltz tomorrow night because they know each other from Chicago. Hinostroza with 4 goals and 6 assists this year. Galchenyuk, 3 goals, 6 assists. I would think adding Schmaltz and Galchenyuk, there's a lot to like in what they're doing. The thing is, you can add these pieces and go, yeah, this looks good on paper, but it's a matter of producing on the ice, right? Richardson, still with 6 goals and 2 assists, gets on the board. On the Minnesota side, Granlund, 10 goals, 13 assists. Parise, 10 goals, 10 assists for him. Koivu, 4 goals, 15 assists. Ryan Suter, 3 goals, 15 assists. Dumba, up to 10 goals and 7 assists. 17 points in 23 games. Fantastic start to the season for him. Stahl, 9 goals, 8 assists. Zucker, 6 goals, 9 assists. And Niederreiter is on the board now with 3 goals and 9 assists for the Minnesota Wild. Goaltending, you got to go with Ranta. You have to. Hill, no record, no goals against, 1,000 save percentage. Miska, no record, 3.28 goals against, 889 save percentage. Of course, Hill is the backup till Kemper gets back. Kemper, 4-5-2 record, 2.71 goals against, 914 save percentage. Ronta, 5-6, 2.78 goals against, 909 save percentage. On the Minnesota side of things, I would expect Dubnyk. Dubnyk's 9-5-2, 2.48 goals against, 921 save percentage. Stalock, 5-2 record, 2.45 goals against, 913 save percentage. In their last 10, Arizona's back to being Arizona. They're 2-6-2. They're 7th in the Pacific, which sadly is where a lot of us predicted them to be. A lot of us had them pegged that Vancouver was 8th, Arizona was 7th. Everything above that was a variable. Minnesota's 6-4 in their last 10. They're still 2nd in the Pacific. So they still have an excellent seeding right now. And if Minnesota could somehow hold on to this and get home ice in the first round, maybe they pull something off here. On the road, Arizona's 4-5-1. At home, Minnesota's 8-2-2. Hjalmarsson is never going to be on a scoring sheet. Maybe even just for one game. 22 games and 1 assist this year, but Nicholas Hjalmarsson brings something physically that Arizona desperately needs on that blue line. And I want to talk about Fair in Minnesota. 23 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. Eric Fair, a guy who's been kind of tossed around the league a bit, having a very solid start to the season this year for Minnesota, and the Wild are likely quite happy to have him. Next up, I was going to say Arizona again. I swear. I'm sober? I'm not that tired, am I? Maybe. Anaheim, 10-10-5 in against Tampa, who are 17-6-1. This could be ugly. I'm going to be completely honest. Based on the way that Anaheim's been playing lately, this could be really, really ugly. Getzlaf's their leading scorer with 6 goals, 11 assists. Raquel with 4 goals, 12 assists. Henrique, 6 goals, 6 assists. Montour, 2 goals, 10 assists. Silverberg, 5 goals, 6 assists. Fowler, 3 goals, 7 assists. Lindholm, 2 goals, 8 assists. And Aberg still on the board with 6 goals and 2 assists. That should say 10 next to Lindholm, not 9. Yeah. Don't have an excuse on that one because I wrote that on the board hours ago. Oh, no, we were watching Return to Oz. That's why I was distracted when I wrote that. Tampa, Kucherov, 9 goals, 23 assists. Point, 17 goals, 14 assists. Gourde, 9 goals, 12 assists. Stamkos, 7 goals, 14 assists. JT Miller, 5 goals, 13 assists. Johnson, 10 goals, 7 assists. McDonough, 2 goals, 15 assists. And Killorn with 3 goals, 8 assists. A good way to explain just how lethal the attack of of Tampa's is. Anaheim's leading scorer is Getzlaf, who is number 1 in that list, would be number 7 on the list for Tampa. Yeah. And Tampa's played 1 less game than has Anaheim. So that's how lethal the scoring is for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Working in Anaheim's favor is that despite the fact they allow a ton of shots, they don't allow a ton of goals because they got solid goaltending. I would expect Gibson here because Gibson likes the challenge. Miller would back him up at a 2-2-1 record, 2.71 goals against, 924 save percentage. Gibson's 8-8-4, 2.57 goals against, 926 save percentage. Demang's going to play, I think, till Vasi gets back. Demang 8-3, 3.19 goals against, 905 save percentage. His numbers aren't that bad. Vasilevsky 9-3-1, 2.29 goals against, 927 save percentage. The Anaheim Ducks are 4-4-2 in their last 10. They're 4th in the Pacific because it's the Pacific. And Tampa's 7-3 in their last 10, and they're 1st in the Atlantic. On the road, this is why I think it could be ugly because Anaheim's 3-7, and at home Tampa's 10-3. So it's not a good road record for Anaheim. It's a fantastic home record for Tampa. I'm tempted to put up an Akbar magnet for that, but I think it'll actually commit suicide and jump right off the board and burst into flames when it hits the floor. Kasha is the guy I want to highlight for Anaheim. He's played 7 games since coming back from injury, 3 goals for him. It takes a while to get back into the swing of it, and they've had a lot of injury problems in Anaheim. On the Tampa side, Adam Ernie, finally getting a regular shift in the NHL, 18 games, 3 goals, 5 assists for him. I like Ernie. And I know, again, he's a guy that doesn't get mentioned very much. People don't, talk a lot about Ernie because there are so many fantastic scorers. But think about it. Ernie, at the rate he's scoring, would still be top 8 if he played all 25 games for Anaheim this year. Yeah. Have I mentioned Tampa can hurt you in a number of ways? There's a lot of attack there. A lot. And then the worst part is their goaltending hasn't been bad either, and their defense is solid. Not fantastic, but solid. Next up. This is a big test for the Avalanche. So the Avs have kind of feasted on the lesser teams. Okay? To get to that 13-6-4 record, they win the games they should. They beat the teams beneath them in the standings. Dallas was a good example in the last game. They win that one 3-2. They beat the team that's below them in the standings. Fine. Fantastic. Now they're in against Nashville. Nashville's 17-6-1. This is the perfect test for whether or not Colorado is actually making progress, or if they're just able to do that against teams that, as I said, are below them, and they'll struggle with teams that are ahead of them. That's been the criticism this year. I've kept a close eye on that, and tomorrow night I will keep a close eye on this game. Rantanen leads the 13-6-4 Avalanche in scoring with 10 goals, 28 assists. 38 points for Rantanen in 23 games. Kid's amazing. McKinnon, 15 goals and 20 assists. Landeskog, 14 goals and 12 assists. That is, I believe, the best line in hockey, but there are a number of lines. There's one in Calgary, there's one in Boston when they're healthy. There are a number of lines that could make that claim and be completely right. And yes, Tampa has a couple of lines they can throw together that would qualify for that. And Nashville has some pretty decent forwards too. Barry, 3 goals, 17 assists. Kerfoot, 4 goals, 14 assists. Soderberg, 7 goals, 10 assists. Wilson, 6 goals, 3 assists. And Gerard, 1 goal, 8 assists. The key for Colorado may very well be Nashville's defense is fantastic. If Nashville's able to counter that first line, that depth scoring for Colorado has to make the difference. On Nashville's side of things, Forsberg leads the scorers with 14 goals, 7 assists. Johansson, 4 goals, 17 assists. Josie, 5 goals, 12 assists. Turris, 5 goals, 11 assists. Ekholm, 3 goals, 12 assists. Arvidsson, 8 goals, 5 assists. Subban, 2 goals, 10 assists. And Craig Smith on the board with 6 goals and 5 assists. He should have got 2 goals for that beautiful goal he scored the other night, but that's not a thing. I would expect Varlamov tomorrow night. Grubauer to back him up. Grubauer at a 5-1-2 record, 3.07 goals against, 907 save percentage. Varlamov, 8-5-2 record, 2.34 goals against, 925 save percentage. On the Nashville side, Saros, 7-4 record, 3.29 goals against, 891 save percentage. I would think, I would think Rene plays here, 10-2-1 record, 1.68 goals against, 942 save percentage. I could see Saros in there too, though, because they don't experience a huge difference in results when Saros is in that. Yes, his save percentage is lower, his goals against is higher, but in the end, they're 7-4 with Saros, they're 10-2-1 with Rene. So, they can win with Saros. Colorado is 6-2-2 in their last 10. They're third in the Central. Nashville 6-3-1 in their last 10, and they are first in the Central. On the road, Colorado is 8-4-2. And again, Colorado last year got killed on the road, and this year they've been pretty solid. They need to show that they've continued that progression on the road and that their road record's for real with a huge win against Nashville. Nashville's 9-3 at home. Could be a fun game. I wanted to mention Dries for Colorado. Every game I watch, Dries stands out. 15 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. The points don't tell the tale with him. On the Nashville side, Nick Bonino is quietly having a solid season. 24 games, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. Bonino's never going to wow you with points. He is better served as a third-line center, not second. But he is very useful. And I think that while Nashville may have given him a little bit too much money when they signed him, I think still he's a solid guy for them. Last but not least, Vegas. How did Vegas get in the playoffs? Because right now, mathematically, Vegas is in the playoffs. I looked at the standings before this game, and I'm like, wait, what? Yes, because of the fact that Anaheim lost their last game, Vegas is now in the playoffs. Yeah. Yes. And in the first round, they'd play San Jose. Hands up if you think San Jose would take out Vegas in the first round. There's not very many hands going up right now because we've seen what San Jose's done lately. Vegas is 12-12-1. And they're in against Chicago, who are 9-10-5. But it's interesting because Vegas hasn't been very good on the road, and Chicago's been better at home than on the road. So this is also a good test for Vegas, much like Nashville's a good test for Colorado. If Vegas is going to make that step and get back to being a winning team and playing well, this is the kind of game they have to win. Leading scorers for Vegas: Marchessault, 10 goals, 10 assists. Carlson, 6 goals, 12 assists. Tuck, who's been a huge part of the team's resurgence, 7 goals, 10 assists. Smith, 4 goals, 11 assists. Eakin, 8 goals, 5 assists. Miller has also been solid lately, 2 goals, 10 assists. Theodore, 2 goals, 10 assists. And starting to score as well as Max Pacioretty, who has 8 goals and 3 assists. Again, if you just look at these in a vacuum, you're going to go, wow, he's only got 11 points in 25 games. If you look at it over the last couple of weeks, Pacioretty's been solid. On the Chicago side of things, Kane, 13 goals, 14 assists. Taves, 11 goals, 10 assists. DeBrincat, 10 goals, 8 assists. Brandon Saad, 7 goals, 6 assists. Anisimov, 3 goals, 8 assists. Seabrook, 3 goals, 7 assists. Cahoon, 2 goals, 8 assists. And Yoki Haru with 10 assists. So my conspiracy theory about them trading Nick Schmaltz is that Stan Bowman watches my previews and was upset that Yoki Haru was going to drop out of the top 8 scorers. So he traded off Schmaltz so Yoki Haru would stay in, and he made sure he got 2 forwards that would not be in the top 8 to bump him out. It's as good as any other theory. I would expect Fleury tomorrow night because Subban has an 0-4 record, 4.02 goals against, 8.59 save percentage. Fleury's 12-8-1, 2.33 goals against, 9.12 save percentage. 5 shutouts will do that for you. And when he's on, he's fantastic, and when he's not, he's mediocre. And this is Fleury now. Can he continue the hot streak? We'll see. On the Chicago side, I would fully expect Crawford, 5-8-1 record, 2.68 goals against, 9.14 save percentage. Cam Ward, 4-2-4 record, 3.83 goals against, and an 8.92 save percentage. Over their last 10, Vegas is 6-4. Chicago's 3-5-2. Vegas, 3rd in the Pacific. And Chicago 6th in the Central. On the road, Vegas is 5-9. At home, Chicago's 5-3-3. So again, that 5-9, that's got to be improved upon for Vegas to actually be a legitimate playoff team, and not just because they're in the Pacific, but because they're a legit playoff team. They have to start winning more on the road. At least get that record on the road to a record of like 10-10 over their next 6 road games, something like that. And maintain that home record, they'll find themselves in the playoffs. The players I want to talk about from these teams: Carrier, 25 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. Hits everything that moves. Everything. I'm surprised he's not smoking linesmen, referees. There's no play around, just smoke the ref. He won't see it coming. And Gustav Forsling, who's been very good for Chicago since his recall. 6 games and 4 assists. I have always wanted to see Forsling do well. I don't care that the Canucks didn't get enough back for him. I'm not petty that way. I liked Forsling as a draft pick. I liked his play in juniors. And I think, like the World Juniors. And I think that he's going to be a very productive defenseman at the NHL level eventually, consistently. So he may very well be on his way to that with this year's beginning. And we'll see. But there you go. 10 games. You're all primed for him. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.